right, let's get this show on the road. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. I am pouring my drink because it is Tolkien's birthday, and in
Oh, do you
one
know what? I,
hour,
I need to get myself a drink too for Tolkien's birthday as well. I definitely need to do that. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. It is a remarkable day for all of us who are fans of J.R.R. Tolkien. Obviously, I need to shut down my device over here. Hello, everybody. What a wonderful group of people to join us for a special birthday. That's right, here at Torn Tuesday at theonering.net on our weekly live show with myself, Clifford, and over there, Justin. We're here to invite you to come and join us for the J.R.R. Tolkien birthday toast. Well, usually it happens at about 9 o'clock p.m. in your individual time zone, but we're doing our birthday toast a little bit early. How's that sound?
it's 1 hour until 9 o'clock on the East Coast of America. So we'll end the show with a toast. So you guys
Yes.
haven't watching the show. I hope you have your headphones in. Go and get your favorite beverage, and as we prepare for Tolkien's toast. Torn Tuesday, of course, is your weekly dose of all things Lord of the Rings. We've been doing this show for 20 years. The OneRing.net's been around for over 20 years. It's my longest relationship I've ever had.
Stop dating myself. I mean, yourself. I mean, us. Stop dating us. We're like, everybody knows that, the OneRing.net is the old grandfather clock in the room
It
for all the
is.
Tolkien websites. Still is. But, don't make me feel any older than I have to. Please, please.
Yes.
Hey,
Well, we've
did you
been
have a good
covering
holiday? Let me ask you first. Did you have a good holiday, good sir?
well, I found my Rings of Power pin, and I'm really pleased with this thing. I'm
It's
just
beautiful.
we all wish that there was Rings of Power merch, or many of us, and those
Mm.
few events. I haven't heard of any merch that was at that big Brazil Comic Con that we covered a couple weeks ago with the big Numenor ship and the Balrog. Um,
Mm.
so one of my exciting things. So Cliff, it is actually Tolkien's birthday. He was born on January 3rd.
Hmm. In
Correct.
in Bloemfontein, South Africa, where he was
South
born. Yes.
African. So he's not even
Yes.
English.
Well, he moved, after his father died, and his widowed mom took him and the brother, Hilary, and they both went right back to England. And he was just a little boy. He was only a couple of years old, maybe three. Maybe he was 3 years old. But
Hmm.
he is still essentially very, very English because, he didn't really have any memories or related experiences from growing up in South Africa. He left there way too young to have become influenced by the unfortunate ecosystem that was going on in South Africa at the time. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that his mom took him back to England and his brother. I'm really grateful for that.
So he was probably too young to learn any of the native languages of South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
Afrikaans or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. Did he ever make
Yep.
an effort to learn those languages being a philologist?
Not that I know of, but
Huh.
I'm sure he had more than a passing interest in the great tarantulas that he remembered when he was a little boy. He was so terrified by an encounter with one of those great big spiders in South Africa that surely, it became the motivation for Ungoliant working with Morgoth to steal the light of the two trees, and ultimately that grand horror show that is Shelob. That all came from him being scared by a big old tarantula spider when he was a little tiny toddler.
I believe it. But the thing we do know from Tolkien's letters is J.R.R. Tolkien.
Speaking
Um,
of, I'm going to my bookshelf right now to get my copy of the letters.
yeah,
Hold the
go
show.
get it. Yeah. So Tolkien in his letters, um, uh, was felt a kinship to the political struggles going on in South Africa throughout the 20th century. And it is absolutely clear in his letters that he did not support apartheid, and he took a strong vocal stance against the separation of peoples. And in several letters, Tolkien talks about that no man has a right to subjugate another man. So he felt that in his bones, and he imbued that into all of his stories. So it's just interesting to see some of the online debates happening 20 years ago and happening this last year around Rings of Power. And it's clear in Tolkien's letters that he had a perspective on social issues that differ from what some parts of fandom, small but vocal parts of fandom, would imply. The chat room is active. I see so many people here. Cecilia and Finrod, Dr. Nosy from the Discord here. Again, we have a Discord. Just search for The One Ring on Discord. You'll find our little channel. It's open to the public. You can join. It's free. You can join. There's an app. You don't have to download anything. You can just go on the web to discord.gg. We also have a hotline. See that phone number down there in the corner?
Oh my goodness.
That means you can text me. You can text us. And let me see if I can see if we get any text messages today. No, we got text messages a couple weeks ago that I never responded to. So anyway, we do have a hotline. Dr. Nosy says, we love people to join our Torn Discord. We are just a few dozen away from 5,000 members, making us not only one of the top Tolkien Discord servers. That makes us one of the top Discord servers of anything. I'm talking NFTs, video games,
absolutely,
social media influencers. So we appreciate everybody coming to the Discord, where there are still interesting discussions and fiery debates about Rings of Power, about Peter Jackson's films, how they ruined Faramir. And the ruination of Faramir is almost as bad as anything that you consider ruined in Rings of Power. So yeah, people in the chat room right here are saying we'd love to get to know you, and we're very friendly. Yes, we are. And the thing I like about our Discord is it's open to all perspectives of Tolkien fandom. And it like, you can get a sense, if you hang out for a little bit, you can get a sense that we want to hear everybody's perspective, and everybody there wants to hear everybody else's perspective. It's not a single mind group think like like some YouTube channels would have you be. So Finrod84 says, Peter Jackson has been so quiet, I wonder what he's up to lately. Well, besides being Tolkien's birthday today, and this happens to be the first Torn Tuesday of 2023, we thought we would go into a State of the Union for Middle-earth, state of everything, and we'll give you an update on some Green Dragon gossip and many other things. But so before we get into there, Cliff,
before we get into that, I have something so special to share with you.
Here we are.
From the Humphrey Carpenter biography, The Life Story of J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the letter that Tolkien's father wrote to his home in Birmingham in 1892. On January 4th, 1892, Arthur Tolkien wrote to his family in Birmingham. My dear mother, I have good news for you this week. Mabel gave me a beautiful little son last night, 3rd of January. It was rather before time, but the baby is strong and well, and Mabel has come through wonderfully. The baby is, of course, lovely. It has beautiful hands and ears. Parenthetical statement, very long fingers. Very light hair, Tolkien eyes, and very distinctly a Suffield mouth. In general effect, immensely like a very fair edition of its Aunt Mabel Mitten. He's just so excited about this baby boy being born. He is so excited. So excited. The boy's first name will be John, after his grandfather, probably John Ronald Reuel, altogether. Mabel wants to call him Ronald, and I want to keep up John and Reuel, ... And so the letter continues. He was so excited. He was a dad. He was so excited for his newborn son. And it says right here, this is important to know, on page 21, it says a few close school friends called him John Ronald, which sounded grand and euphonious. When he was an adult, his intimate friends referred to him as, was customary at the time, by his surname, Tolkien, or they called him Tollers, a hearty nickname typical of the period. Tollers, that's what his friends called him. How about that? Anyways, the beginning of a life, and nobody knew, and certainly not Arthur, he did not know that his son would become the greatest fantasy author of all time. No one knew. What a beautiful little beginning to an innocent life. Isn't it great?
And if you want
this is really good.
And if you want to see
really good, by the way,
some of that portrayed on screen, we cannot recommend this enough. You know what? We can recommend it enough. We do recommend it enough. Strike that word cannot from the record. We can recommend this movie enough. Tolkien, starring Nicholas Hoult, who never phones it in, and Lily Collins, Phil Collins' daughter, Lily Collins and Nicholas Hoult in Tolkien, which talks about, you just talked about in his biography how his fellow classmates would call him John Ronald. He had different names and nicknames throughout the years. You can watch.
More important, it also says right here that to those who were not really close to him, especially in his later years, he was often known as JRRT. People just referred to him that way.
Jert, not a jerk. Jert.
Jert.
If you want to watch Tolkien tonight, and I highly recommend it after this show,
yes.
One of my favorite resources on the internet right now, it's called justwatch.com, and it tells you where it's streaming and whether it's free streaming or rental or purchase. And according to Just Watch, we're looking at this here, it is free if you subscribe to Fubo or FX Now or DirecTV. And FX Now, you get access for free if you have cable service, whether it's Charter or Spectrum or Time Warner or Cox Cable or anything like that. Basically, you go to FX Now and it links. You have to click the button to link. I know everybody's done this, right? Like you click the button and it asks for your permission to link to your cable TV. So theoretically, you could be watching it right now. And of course, you can rent it on Amazon and Apple TV. Dr. Notesy says, I enjoyed this film. Monica says, I'm surprised it isn't for free on Prime. I am too. Tolkien was...
I think I am too, yes.
Yeah, Tolkien
really
was produced by Fox Searchlight Pictures. During post-production, Disney bought Fox. And this happens to be, Tolkien happens to be the last movie Fox Searchlight released before being bought out by Disney. It's the last non-Disney Fox Searchlight film, and it's a wonderful film. It's a charming film.
I agree.
It's you
know how it succeeds, even though it is not an exact point for point biography. it succeeds greatly as a work of memory. As we look back at his life, and it encapsulates a beautiful, beautiful set of memories that happened in his life, and they're put together in a beautiful, very, very poetic way. I cannot recommend the film enough. And again, my hat is off to you, Dome Korokovsky, for making a remarkable film. Remarkable.
Oh, we should mention that if you rent it tonight and you decide to watch it tonight or this week, if you go to our YouTube channel, which you might be watching this show on, you can search our YouTube channel for the Tolkien live commentary. And during lockdowns, director Dome Korokovsky sat down with Cliff and I to watch this movie with the fans, answer fan questions, and I'm telling you, it is one of the most delightful 2 hours you could spend, because you can watch it on your phone. You can listen and watch Dome, the director, talk about all of his creative decisions, just like Peter Jackson did for the Lord of the Rings films, those commentary tracks that are legendary award-winning commentary tracks. Well, we were lucky enough to invite Dome to do that, and Cliff, that was one of my favorite streams we've ever done. That was just a wonderful watch along. So that there is a Tolkien watch along. So you rent the movie, put it on your TV, and then bring this up on your phone. Cliff.
Hello there. It's very exciting. Very exciting.
You know what? There's a phone number in the corner, folks. Here's what you need to do. You need to text me, because through my normal day job.
Oh, look what you've got. Oh.
This is official merch.
Is this what I think it is? Is it the beautiful enameled pin of the TCBS?
I have.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that.
Let me see if I can focus on. There it is.
I don't even have one of those. That is such a cool pin.
So Tell me a story. This was taken from a scene in the movie. It says, yes. Tell me a story.
I love that. I love that part of the film. I really love that part of the film. That's so great.
It says, tell me a story. I have this enamel pin. If you text the hotline in the corner, it's a Google Voice number, so if you're international, you can do that. You can figure that out. And text me what your favorite part of the Tolkien movie was. And then I'll just choose a random winner to send this. It says, tell me a story. It is Tolkien and his future wife for their first contact, their first holding hands.
That is so cool that you've got that.
And then,
Justin, that is so cool.
That's not. And then I will actually choose a second winner. I would choose the second winner because this is the TCBS, his classmates, that you just mentioned in Humphrey Bogart's biography.
And that would not be Humphrey Bogart.
No, not Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Carpenter. Humphrey Carpenter's biography, yeah.
His classmates.
The Tea Club and Barovian Society.
The Tea Club.
TCBS. Yes.
The Tea Club and Barovian Society. Well,
I
am the only... I was lucky enough to get a license from Fox Searchlight before Disney bought them. This is the official TCBS Tolkien club, movie-based club logo.
Isn't it lovely?
That you cannot get these anywhere else.
No, you cannot.
I'm the only one that had a license. Pin. And then Disney bought them, and as soon as Disney bought Fox, they told me I couldn't sell this merch anymore. So this is the only place to have it. You can see how shimmering and shiny it is. Text me your favorite scenes, your favorite parts of Tolkien, the movie, and I will choose two winners to get each of these pins.
Look what I found.
What
This
is it?
wonderful photograph is from the Carpenter biography. Can you guys see it? Is it out of focus?
No, I can see it. Yeah.
This picture is the entire Tolkien family. There's Mabel Tolkien, Mabel and her husband Arthur, and their beautiful baby boy, taken in November of 1892. In November of 1892, when he was about a year and 2 months old, maybe, or am I wrong? I think maybe he was almost 2 years old. That this is little baby Tolkien when he was just a little wee lad.
That's amazing. Question from the chat. Narnia expert wants to know if Tolkien was made by Fox Searchlight, why isn't it streaming on Hulu or Disney Plus? Good question. It is on FX. So per the Fox used to put all of its movies on FX. FX
That's right.
is a network called FX and a streaming service called FX Now. It's Fox without the O. So Disney is locked into whatever multi-year contracts that Fox had when they bought the company. So every time that they can, they do put Fox shows and Fox movies on Disney Plus and on Hulu. There are some that just slip through the cracks and cannot be put on Hulu yet. This is one of them. That's why it's only available on FX. But
do you know that's why I went out and bought my own Blu-ray so I could actually have the movie and watch it when I want to watch it.
Well, there you go. Cheers to Cliff. It's only 99 cents to rent on Amazon Prime, by the way.
To answer your question, Finrod84, yes, I have been to Oxford, to the original stomping grounds of Professor J.R.R. Tolkien. I've been there. I've been to Magdalen College, where I interviewed wonderful people. I've been to Oxford. I have been in and out of the Eagle and Child pub before it actually closed down and had some renovations done to it, and they did something else to it. It was still the local Bird and Baby. I've been to the pub where the Inklings have met. I love Oxford. Nothing but high marks, very high marks to recommend the Oxford experience. You've been there too, Justin. You've been there too.
Not until this last year. And you know what? Credit to Amazon Prime and Prime Video. They finally got me to Oxford. All of these years, all of these decades, Cliff. And I couldn't be bothered to get to Oxford. Also, it's very far from Los Angeles. But thank you to Prime Video for getting me there. Let me see if I can bring up this photo.
Actually, you know, this photo that I showed you a minute ago, he was only 11 months old. Little baby J.R.R. Tolkien was only 11 months old when this picture was taken. Wild.
Well, Cliff, here's a picture from last April. There is me at Oxford. That is Tolkien's favorite square on the grounds. That is Nerd of the Rings, Matt in the green shirt. Varking Runesong, who's a friend of the show. He helped create our Discord, and he's the moderator of the Lord of the Rings on Prime subreddit. That is Fellowship of Fans himself. He didn't want me posting this photo last year, but I think he's gotten comfortable with pictures being out. So that is Nerd of the Rings, Varking, Fellowship of Fans, and the Prancing Pony podcast, and me at Oxford. There you go. With Amazon Prime put this together.
How cool.
Imran says, looking quite dapper. What? I didn't know what to wear to Oxford. What would you wear to Oxford? Like, I don't care if I'm a tourist. Like Matt was just like, I just got a green T-shirt. But I'm like, I feel like I should like at least have a collar, right? So that is. So that's everybody. Those are some of your favorite people, and just behind camera is Tea with Tolkien and Kelly Rice, Happy Hobbit, and Corey Olson, the Tolkien Professor, and the Tolkien Society, Sean Gunner. But this was kind of our core crew. These are the troublemakers, right? Fellowship of Fans was leaking a bunch of stuff. Varking was on Reddit I was leaking a bunch of stuff. Matt was just, Nerd of the Rings is just doing his thing. Prancing Pony is just reporting on everything. Finrod says, I would look so underdressed. Folks, I want to see in the chat room, what would you wear? Let's say you're going to Oxford. I know some of you in the chat room said you're going to Oxford this year to travel. Wouldn't you just make a little effort? Like, if you're going to be there, you might as well, dress the part. Don't you think?
I agree a little bit. I mean, I would wear my herringbone tweed jacket and a turtleneck. That's exactly what I would wear. And if I'm not mistaken, when I was there in Oxford, that is what I wore. That is exactly what I wore, I think. Wait a minute. Are we doing the toast in half an hour at 6 o'clock?
Right. It's at 9 o'clock Eastern time.
So we're going to do it. Okay. We are doing, I'm telling our friends.
Cliff, I wanted to ask you, this happens to be the 131st anniversary of Tolkien's birth. So he's a 13-1 or 131. Yeah. So, but according to comments on our Facebook page, Bilbo was 131 years old when he left the Shire. Remember old Bilbo, old wrinkly Bilbo that goes to join Gandalf at the ship, and then he says, Frodo, come along. Bilbo was 131 years old.
Oh, really?
Do we know if there's any significance to that age, or did Tolkien just randomly say Bilbo's 131?
Wow. I did not know that Bilbo was exactly 131 when he left the Grey Havens, left from the Grey Havens. I didn't know that. Really? Well, I did the math, and I subtracted 1892 from 2023, and you're right. It's 131.
131. So this is Tolkien's
That's impressive.
Birthday. This makes Tolkien... It's the same age that now Bilbo was when he departed from the Grey Havens, which is implied.
Wow.
Passing to greener shores, implying.
Yes. It is
a death, right?
But it implies that to the people who really don't know what's going on. It actually does seem like that moment in the Arthurian legend where he floats off to Avalon, over the water and is gone. The body of Arthur. But it's just a metaphysical conversation to have about what really happens when they leave from the Grey Havens. And it's amazing to me that you figured that out, Justin, that Bilbo was 131. Now I'm checking all my information in front of me to see if that's really true, if Bilbo was that age when. All right, we'll leave it to the chat. Chat, you guys do some math for us real quick and look at the appendix and see when they left the Grey Havens and if that is right, that Bilbo was that age. But no, to answer your question, I don't know if there was any specific import from Professor Tolkien saying that.
About that specific age. All right. No. Cliff, there's other reasons to celebrate this week. I mean, Tolkien's birthday
there are.
But did you see the big news? I don't think I texted you, but I posted it. Did you see the big news yesterday?
Tell me what? No, I know there was a lot of news going on yesterday.
The Hobbit animated is now on HBO Max.
Oh, I did not see that. Posting.
Rankin and Bass, The Hobbit is now streaming on HBO Max.
Oh, that is so cool. I have the Bluray over here. That is so cool. I didn't know that. All right, let me turn that on. And you know what?
Some people
I'm going to leave the show. I'm just going to leave the show and go watch the
Cliff's already leaving.
Bye. I'm going to go watch it.
Forget the toast. Forget the Tolkien movie. The cartoon.
Adventure is what lies ahead. Oh, hello. We're going to get
the Glenn Yarborough in the background. People in the chat room, I should give you a heads up, folks. This, as far as we know, it's only U.S. HBO Max. People in other countries are saying that it's not streaming yet on their localized edition of HBO Max, as far as we know. The other thing I heard, if you search for The Hobbit, it does not come up. It is like on page 10 of the search results. People are finding this by searching for Rankin, Rankin.
You can't type in the word Hobbit and see what comes up?
Well, the Desolation of Smaug comes up. All the Lord of the Rings movies come up. And then anything with HOB, like Hobbs and Shaw, Fast and the Furious. So the secret is search for Rankin, and it'll show up immediately. Rankin and Bass, The Hobbit, is now on HBO Max, and it is a sprightly hour and a half, isn't it?
Barely an hour and a half. Okay, let's look. All right, typing in.
Oh, he's doing it live. He's looking for
right
it
now.
live.
I'm seriously looking on my. Bye. I'm going to leave the show and go watch my personal favorite Hobbit adaptation. It is so amazing, and wow, look, I'm looking around here, and it looks like the Banshees of Inisherin is on HBO Max as well.
That movie is amazing, by the way. Colin Farrell.
Remarkable film. Remarkable.
Top 10 of the year for me, maybe even top 5. That movie made me feel it is a tone poem on friendship and grief.
Yes, it is. It's remarkable. It's a remarkable film.
It's a
really
tiny little film. It's a tiny little film. And with Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, and you need to watch it.
Actually, you do.
A lot
you
of
guys
cursing
because
it's Irish.
But trust, it's a satisfying movie. Very interesting.
Cliff, the way, Monica in the chat room is saying she just found it by searching for Rankin. I would not steer you folks wrong. If you want to find the Animated Hobbit,
I just found it by typing in HOBB. As soon as I put that in, it immediately comes up
Maybe that's the algorithm playing to your favorites.
I put in HOBB, maybe because the device is listening to me say the word, but there is all of the Hobbit trilogy. There's Fellowship of the Ring Extended, and then the fifth result is The Hobbit. It's right there.
Now,
and it's only an hour and 17 minutes long. Barely an hour and 17 minutes.
All right, Cliff, we don't agree on many things. And
oh gosh, here we go.
And I need to know from you. I need to hear it from you.
Okay.
Why is this movie so celebrated? Because it's terrible. It's only an hour long. The animation is creepy. It looks nothing like a polished like Disney film, or even like what came out at the time, Robin Hood, Aristocats, Jungle Book. The quality of the animation is so low.
Are you mad?
The songs are cheesy. The songs aren't even fully loyal to Tolkien. How is this hour and 17-minute long so beloved and cherished? Because the Hobbit movies are way more interesting and way more fun. Please tell me from your perspective, why does the animated Rankin and Bass Hobbit get a pass where Rings of Power and the Peter Jackson Hobbit does not?
First of all, about everything you said is incorrect, okay? The animation is not creepy. That is your bizarro world. You're over there living in your bizarro world, okay? The only thing that people have always commented on is the unfortunate character design of the elves, and the Elven King, Thranduil especially, is a weird character design. But
and Gollum looks like a toad.
It's so cool. You know what? The reason why the movie is so cool, and the reason why it works remarkably well, is because it is a succinct and very complete adaptation of the Hobbit book by taking out all the unnecessary stuff and streamlining the essence of Bilbo's transformation from little homebody, nervous, nervous little homebody who would never shake a stick at a lightning bug, much less go in and have a conversation with a dragon. There is a psychological exploration of Bilbo. It is done through these amazing songs. Most of the songs are 100% accurate reproductions of the poetry and the verse in the Hobbit book. Some of the songs are different, and they were written by a popular folk singer who used to be the lead vocalist for the Limelighters. But Glenn Yarborough, on his own, separate from his original band, and the original music and songs written by Maury Laws are treasured. The music and the songs are adored and treasured by generations of kids who then grew up to be generations of adults who picked up every book by J.R.R. Tolkien because of this gateway. You could consider the 1977 Hobbit film is the ultimate gateway drug to get into all things Middle-earth. And it encapsulates so much of the story, even though it cuts out a bunch of stuff.
Really, the Arkenstone, Beorn.
Oh, no. Beorn, yeah, the Arkenstone, all that stuff is cut from the film. But that works in its favor because the story is more interested in streamlining and talking about how Bilbo's emotional growth and psychological growth gets him to a point where Thorin Oakenshield respects him, really respects him, and offers him brotherly love and reconcilement at the end. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful film. It won the Peabody Award. This movie, as much as you want to criticize it, has won the Peabody Award, which is a cultural watermark of a beautiful, important piece of storytelling that is very impactful. And none of the other Hobbit films have won that or gotten that kind of recognition. So you can dial back all your little criticisms about the Hobbit film, dial it back. And besides, if it weren't for the weird, idiosyncratic style of the 77 Hobbit film, then we wouldn't have had the really hilarious parody of Lemmy-Winks from the boys who gave us South Park. If we hadn't had the, weird idiosyncrasies that are part of the charm, the utter charm of the Hobbit film, then we wouldn't have gotten Lemmy-Winks all these decades later.
What can what can Lord of the Rings filmmakers today in 2023 learn from the animated Hobbit?
Rely on the original charm of Tolkien. If Professor Tolkien gives you that essence of Bilbo is a fish out of water, and it is highly amusing and charming to see this busybody little Englishman, who's never been outside of his gardens without a pocket handkerchief. And then suddenly you stick him into a conversation with giant spiders and a golem creature and a dragon. It perfectly captures the charm that Tolkien had in the story. So for anybody else who wants to really do a great adaptation of Tolkien, pay attention and read between the lines. Because Rankin and Bass succeeded a great deal with their film.
The thing I will give it is I feel that Peter Jackson's Hobbit movies, they needed more songs. We got 3 songs in the first hour of The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. And then we had 7 more hours of that dang trilogy, and we got no songs. No songs. Peter Jackson needed to put more songs. Let me ask you this. The one song in the 8 hours of Rings of Power.
Mm-hmm. The Wandering Day. Which is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Does that fall in line with the tone and the quality of the animated Hobbit songs, supposedly based on actual poetry from The Hobbit?
I think The Wandering Day falls more in line with the music that was created for the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogy. There's something distinctly 70s folk music about the soundtrack and the score and the songs. And I think that the Wandering Day is a little bit more, Anglo-centric. It's a little bit less 70s American folk music and a bit more like a real good British or an Irish lilt. There's something about the Wandering Day which seems to be a bit more attuned to that moment when Billy Boyd is singing to Denethor. It's a little bit more tuned into that, I think.
The songs are used to further the character, not just a
you're
pause
right.
in the story.
Otaku Senpai, you are totally 100% at rights to disagree with me and more agree with Justin. That's totally cool. But also, thank you for reminding us that there are two songs in the Rings of Power, because they had that big, epic version of the Ringverse that was sung by Fiona Apple at the end.
That's right. Yeah, but
season one. So there are two songs.
All right.
Oh,
so
okay. Danielle said there were like 3 songs because there was also a plea to the rocks. But okay, that was like an
now we're getting
that was an interstitial, like what do you call that? It's diacritical music. Is that what they call it when it's an extra piece of music that's not the score itself?
And it was only last year that we lost Jules Bass. You might have remembered our tribute show to Jules Bass, the Bass in Rankin and Bass.
That would be Arthur Rankin Jr. and his partner Jules Bass, who
Jules
left
Bass,
us.
I believe, wrote the lyrics, or is credited with Glenn Yarborough.
With Maury Laws.
Songs.
He's credited with Maury Laws. And, believe it or not, the guy from the Limelighters, Mr. Glenn Yarborough, was a hired gun to come in and be the vocalist. But
the final interesting thing, again, we are talking about the animated Hobbit, which is now on HBO Max. You can find it by searching for Rankin, like Rankin and Bass, the Hobbit. Cliff, I'm shocked you did not mention that the animation studio that did the drawing, that actually animated this, went on to become
Top Craft. All the animators that they were working with, Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass, were working with these beautiful Japanese animators responsible for some amazing work, especially with The Last Unicorn. And they also did another adaptation of Tolkien, which was The Return of the King, also another Rankin and Bass television animated film. But those animators from Top Craft afterwards went right over to work with a new studio that was opened up by Isao Takahata and Hayao Miyazaki. That new studio was Studio Ghibli, and they started working right away.
So Studio Ghibli, one of the most beloved animated studios of all time.
Of all time.
All of the animators came from working on The Hobbit.
Yep, that's right. They did.
All right.
Isn't that great? They also worked on other shows. Rankin and Bass did Thundercats TV series for several seasons. Remember that in the early 80s?
Yeah.
And they were still using animators from Top Craft. Really, it's all connected.
Let me ask you that, Cliff. Nostalgia is such a big thing right now. We've got Willow on TV on Disney Plus, and we've got all these nostalgia reboots. Let me ask you this: is the animated Hobbit beloved enough to reboot? Is that animation style appropriate?
Yes.
Do you think anyone would actually watch that gross?
Shut up. You're so silly. You are so silly. Oh my gosh. You're so silly. Shut up. Okay. Come on. All right. You want to see The Hobbit, Rankin and Bass, reintroduced and remade yet again? It's going to be a live action stage musical. That's what's going to happen. Okay. That wouldn't be surprising to me at all. That a full, beautiful stage musical version of The Hobbit, which is in honor of that nostalgia, and tapping into all those great songs. Imagine a big stage musical that is wildly colorful with a big dragon and projection effects on stage. That's where you're going to see that movie come back to us.
Okay. All right. So you think people would actually want something that looks like the psychedelic Hobbit of the 70s? I don't agree with you, but this is one of many things that we continue to disagree with. Cliff, do you know what else? Did you see that article I posted earlier this week?
About the two Viggo Mortensen films that people slept on in the year of 2022?
That's right, folks. It's the end. It's 2023. Everybody's putting together their best of 2022 list. I told you that Avatar Way of the Water was going to be a top 10 film, and sure enough, it is the fastest movie to hit a 1 billion. I think it's going to be a top 10 all-time grossing movie. But we posted an article this week. Viggo Mortensen had 2 amazing films this year.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's talking about it. Cliff, have you seen any tweets for 13 Lives?
Everybody knew about the Cronenberg film. People were talking about that for months.
We found a photo from the premiere of 13 Lives where Viggo Mortensen dusted off his Return of the King premiere shirt for the premiere of 13 Lives. This is how, this is the 20th anniversary of his epic award-winning films, Two Towers, Fellowship of the Ring, Return of the King, and he's wearing that. Oh man, the chat room is blowing up with 13 Lives. I mean, look at this, Cliff.
I can't wait to see it. I'm sorry, I have to catch up.
Cliff, if you haven't seen it, I'm showing the Tomatometer right now. 86% fresh from the critics, 94% fresh from the audience. When was the last time you saw critics and the audience agree on Rotten Tomatoes?
Wow, that doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's a thing of beauty.
Folks, 13 Lives is an absolute must-see. You have to see it.
Where can I see it? Where can I see it now?
Well, see, this is what I want to talk about. 13 Lives is an Amazon Prime movie.
Oh, okay. Well, then since I have Prime membership, I can go ahead and watch it.
Cliff, let me ask you this. We have a movie that is 94% positive on the Rotten Tomatoes. Critics and audiences love it. It's put out by Amazon Prime. A movie starring Viggo Mortensen. The same summer that Rings of Power is coming out, they have a movie with Isildur's heir.
Yes.
Just a few weeks before the story of Isildur begins, that they spent $1 billion on.
Yeah.
Why didn't Amazon put 13 Lives in theaters? Why didn't they market this? Why wasn't I shown 13 Lives as an option after every episode? You know how, like, when you finish an episode on any streaming service, it says, hey, we're going to auto start this next. Yeah, you might like. Or
you might like. Yep.
Or Netflix likes to just auto play something that it thinks you might like.
Does it all the time, and I wish I could turn that off.
I wish I could turn that off. Let me ask you this. In a show about Isildur, why wouldn't they put Aragorn himself, Viggo Mortensen's 13 Lives, on autoplay?
I don't know. I don't even know.
It's blowing my mind how Amazon Studios can have a Ron Howard directed, Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell starring film that has amazing reviews, and they don't put it in theaters during a summer where Tom Cruise makes the most money of his career, during a year where Avatar 2 is still setting box office records. Like, people want to go to the movies.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I just can't believe that in the world of SEO and links and search engine optimization, why would you have a movie with Aragorn, Isildur's heir, and not promote that alongside your show about Isildur?
I don't get it. You know what? Probably because they want to differentiate themselves so much from Peter Jackson's films that they wouldn't do anything related to Orlando or Elijah or Vigo or Ian McKellen or anything. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. And
But
I
it kept
honestly
showing me Wheel of Time and freaking Carnival Row. Hey, you watched Lord of the Rings. You might like Carnival Row. It has Orlando Bloom in it.
Yeah, I don't get it. But you know what? It doesn't make enough sense to me. There's a lot going on that never made sense to me. So don't ask me to solve those mysteries, please.
Well, the guys, the what I love, and since Cliff, we don't want to spoil it for Cliff. I followed the story on the news. Of course, you know, Elon Musk had tweeted a bunch of garbage about the thing, like, I can rescue them, I'm smart. I
The Thai Cave Rescue? The Thai Cave
Yeah,
Rescue.
the Thai Cave Rescue, which is 13 Lives, is about. I knew that I knew the ending, but I didn't know, I didn't exactly know how. All right, like I didn't pay too close attention. Like I remember seeing a documentary a couple years ago, but it kind of like went in and out of my head. So when this film starts the rescue, it is white knuckle, hold your breath, thrilling filmmaking. I was on the edge of my seat during the entire rescue, even though I knew what happened at the end. Like, you have to watch this film, Cliff. It's amazing.
I will. I promise you I will. And then we'll discuss it next week for sure. But that's really intriguing to me.
Cliff, are you a fan of David Cronenberg?
Yeah, sometimes. I really like what he's doing, and sometimes I can't figure out people's taste for that. But
First off, I cannot believe they used this picture as the thumbnail for their trailer for Crimes of the Future starring Viggo Mortensen. This movie stars Viggo Mortensen and Kirsten Stewart.
Yes. Crimes of the Future.
It is about a future where they have figured out how to. They've solved all diseases, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've solved pain as well. So you can't hurt, and you can't. So what people figure out is when you don't feel pain, you could start body modification.
That's right. This is the movie about body modification weirdness. And then it gets weird.
And so the movie is about people that grow a human ear on their forehead and then sell it, right? To earn money.
Sell it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like body modification, not just for artistic sake, but body modification for parts for sale.
Yeah.
Because you can't sell enough plasma to make rent sometimes. So Crimes of the Future is the second film. Two well-received films. If you're into David Cronenberg and that body horror type stuff, I love the chat room knows. Crimes of the Future is a decent film. It's not a bad film. And it's got a good 80% critic review. 13 Lives is a home run across the board. Everybody should see that. Crimes of the Future, acquired taste if you're into body horror. And I will say this, it is a brand new score from Howard Shore on Crimes of the Future.
Okay, that's worth hearing, I'm sure.
Right.
But nobody does body horror the way that Cronenberg does it. Remember how people reacted to The Fly? Do you remember how people reacted to The Fly?
Oh yeah, all of his Videodrome.
Of course, Videodrome. Yeah. I think my favorite Cronenberg film might be Naked Lunch, but I'm also very fond of some of his other recent films as well.
Hey, 4 minutes, Cliff. If you don't have your toast ready, folks, 4-minute warning.
Three minute.
Get your tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
So, folks, that is those are 4 movies that you can watch this week. Tolkien, starring Nicholas Hoult. The Animated Hobbit, which Cliff hopefully sold you on. And Viggo Mortensen in Amazon Prime's 13 Lives. Also,
Hopefully sold
Cliff,
you on. You're
the
so funny.
the algorithms, I'm shocked. Cliff, I'm still shocked that every single person that finished all 8 episodes of Rings of Power, why aren't they like shown 13 Lives front big billboard as soon as you log into Amazon Prime?
I don't get it. You'd think because I don't know, but people would automatically jump into a good Vigo film after watching The Rings of Power, and then that could help the numbers for their Amazon Prime movie 13 Lives. That could really help out, but you know what? As I've said before on this show, Justin, you're making too much sense.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Anyway,
you're
so
making
you got
too much sense.
two Vigo movies, an animated Hobbit movie, and a Tolkien movie, which is
Yes.
Ignore any of the internet debate that you've heard about Tolkien movie. It was wrong. It was false. It was a false flag effort by some very political people to kill the movie. The movie is actually charming.
Do you know how stupid it was that the British press started regurgitating these really nonsense articles? The Tolkien estate says they do not approve of this movie. Well, duh, they didn't approve it from the first place, and the only announcement that they made was a generic, very generic announcement saying, this movie was made, but not under our auspices. And it wasn't like a massive smackdown of the Kurokowski film. It was just a basic statement to say, don't talk to us.
Yeah, we didn't work on this. Yeah.
Don't talk to us. We didn't make it. It wasn't any condemnation. And the British press made it falsely sound like it was a condemnation from the Tolkien estate. And it wasn't. It wasn't. I tell you what,
and
before
so
we go...
To Amazon's credit, when that happened to Tolkien, Amazon was absolutely correct to bring Simon Tolkien in and make sure that the family is absolutely involved in Rings of Power, because that just headed off a whole stream of negative press and negative articles. They had to, and honestly, we deserved it. The fans deserve having the Tolkien family involved. Whether or not we agree with the decisions being made, that is a different conversation.
Indeed it is. Well, you know what? It's 6 o'clock. Isn't it almost time?
It's 6 o'clock. And why do we do this at 9 o'clock? Every year at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., whatever time zone you're in. Right now it happens to be 9 p.m. on the East Coast. I believe that the Tolkien Society, founded in 1969 while Tolkien was still alive, the Tolkien Society has championed his birthday at 9 p.m. as the official Tolkien toast. And it started in London at a pub in Oxford where fans and acolytes would come together to toast Tolkien at 9 p.m. And now it is 9 p.m. on the East Coast of America. So, Cliff, how do you normally toast Tolkien? I'm lost for words.
I know exactly how they toast Professor Tolkien, but before we do the toast, which just happened a minute ago, I'm going to read you a tiny segment from the published letters. The letters of J.R.R. Tolkien. And so here, in his own words, I have at last got busy about Mummy's grave. The inscription that I should like is Edith Mary Tolkien, 1889 to 1971, Luthien. He wanted her name on the gravestone as well as the name Luthien for her. He says it's brief and jejune, except for Luthien, which says more for me, more than a multitude of words. For she was, and she knew that she was, my Luthien. And so to that romantic man, that beautiful, beautiful romantic man who loved his wife so much and who loved Middle Earth so much, that he worked for his entire life to create something singular and very special for all of us. To that man,
For her.
I toast. For her, and for her, for Edith. So traditionally we say, to the professor.
To the professor.
To the professor. Cheers, sir.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers, sir. Clink. Everybody at home, to the professor. Well done. Happy birthday, John Ronald.
I am thankful.
Happy birthday to you.
We just got through the holiday season, Cliff. I am thankful to be here
Yes.
for another year with you. I am thankful that we are back in Middle Earth, and we will continue to be. And I don't feel there's any chance that Amazon's going to cancel this show early like Netflix does on so many of their TV series.
I don't have anything nice to say about Netflix right now. Sorry, I really don't. Because
they canceled Dark Crystal after one season.
Yeah, they also canceled that new show. What's it, 1899?
Yeah.
What's it called?
1889?
Like yeah. They canceled that
Not
too.
the Tyler Sheridan cowboy movie show thing. But anyway,
I mean,
whatever nitpicks we have on the show, these are temporary. Just as they were temporary during the Hobbit years. Just as they were temporary when people hated the Two Towers for the liberties it took.
Oh, you're talking about Rings of Power now, shifting over from the Netflix conversation back to Prime Video.
Yeah, I'm saying no matter what the discourse is, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, and the entire team are committed to completing that story. And Tolkien is never finished. You do not cut Tolkien off. You don't cut him short, ever.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I have full faith in Amazon Studios, Prime Video, to complete the task.
Yes.
And that is more than can be said about HBO canceling all these movies that are even finished. They canceled them. Warner Brothers canceling all these DC movies. HBO taking Westworld off of their streaming service. Netflix canceling all these TV shows. There's so much stuff being canceled, but we can look forward to the story continuing in Middle Earth.
Yes,
not only
we can.
Not only with Rings of Power, but whatever Embracer is going to do with their newly found movie rights.
We need to talk to our friends at the Embracer group and say, let's get started on that nostalgic stage musical of the 1977 The Hobbit. Let's get started on that.
Yes. The word the word I have from set of Rings of Power right now, which is now filming, the word is only one word. It is things are getting interesting.
That's more than one word, but sure. That's more than one word, yeah, but I think they are. They're getting very, very interesting. Do you know, I have a great deal of faith, now that we know that Amazon Prime and J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, now that we know, after watching season 1, that they're doing their own thing, we can get comfortable and take the ride and see where we're going to go. Because we know that it's not exactly what we were expecting from the appendices, and it's not following the chronological letter of things with, elven rings being made first, and all the other rings were supposed to be made first. But, even though they're doing their own thing, I guess as a fandom, we could get a little bit more acclimated and more comfortable to what they're going to do.
Cliff, I have some breaking Green Dragon gossip.
What kind of news are you breaking?
It's just come to me on text. I'm not going to turn my phone around.
Oh my gosh, tell me what's going on. What's happening?
I don't know if you're going to like this. Maybe you'll love it.
Maybe. Try me.
All right, there's 2 pieces of information. I'm going to table this to say this is Green Dragon gossip. Okay. I have not validated any of this from a second source. This is just coming in on the hotline from a trusted source. All right, Cliff.
What is it? What did you do this time?
The first rumor Rings of Power. Theo is adopted.
Adopted?
Theo,
Okay.
the son of
Okay, yes, I know who
Nazanin
Theo
Boniadi.
is. Yes, yes,
What is
yes,
her
I know who
character's
he is.
name? Bronwyn?
Bronwyn. Okay, Bronwyn and Arondir are,
It says
according to general fan consensus, the speculation is that Arondir and Bronwyn are the parents.
Bronwyn. The rumor is Bronwyn
Adopted the
agreed
boy.
to take care of a boy.
Hmm.
Agreed to raise him as her son, and that will be
Interesting.
revealed in season 2. There's a further speculation
Okay, that's interesting.
that this person who might be on set said, I have no information for or against, but their inclination is Theo might be set up to be Celebrian.
Say that again.
Is that the name? What's the name?
Celebrian?
Yes.
Yeah, what about Celebrian? I didn't connect the sentence
Well,
you just
I don't
said.
know who Celebrian is. Who is Celebrian? That
Okay,
means nothing to me.
Celebrian is Elrond's wife.
Okay, so that's not right.
No, Celebrian is Elrond's wife. So what are you talking
So
about?
they hint that it
Sorry,
has
my mistake. Daughter of Galadriel, who ultimately does get married to Elrond. None of this makes any sense at all. Sorry. Just repeat what you said to me because it doesn't make any sense.
It says Theo has something to do with Celebrian.
Don't know how. Don't know how that
I don't
could
know
be
how.
connected. Me neither.
But
I don't understand
Theo
that.
might be adopted, and it will be revealed that there was an arrangement made, and Bronwyn. Anyway, the second rumor.
No, dude. I'm glad that you are claiming ignorance because Celebrian could not be Theo, and
He's
I don't
not
get
Celeborn.
no.
No, that would not be okay.
No.
I'm okay for a lot of things, folks. Not
He could not
that
be
kid.
Celeborn.
That kid is not getting with Galadriel. No.
Galadriel just had a conversation with him about her husband Celeborn
Right.
being missing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Yeah. The chat room. You're confusing me, guys. Celebrian, Celeborn, whatever. I don't know. The second rumor.
I love that. Monica says none of what you're saying can be okay.
It
Lol.
cannot be okay. All right.
No, it
That's why.
cannot be.
This is
No.
why it's Green Dragon Gossip. We're starting off the year strong with 2 big Green Dragon Gossips. The
Oh my
second
gosh.
big Green Dragon Gossip spotted on set. Spotted on set is an actor who, in the dialogue, is being called Tom.
Tom. Do you think that's a possible Tom Bombadil coming to visit the show?
It's 100% Tom Bombadil. That's what they're
No,
saying.
wow.
Tom Bombadil has been cast and will show up in season 2.
Whoa, that's pretty cool. I think that is the most interesting thing that we've heard in a very long time in terms of rumors and Green Dragon gossip rumors. I think that is the most interesting rumor I've heard in a long time.
They say Fellowship of Fans recently got a hold of and released a code name list, cast code name list. And so Tom Bombadil has a code name so it doesn't leak, but people on set are hearing dialogue of talking to him as Tom Bombadilio.
I really don't know what Tom Bombadil would be doing in the Rings of Power. I don't know how they could incorporate the character into this Second Age story, but I find it fascinating. And ultimately, if this is true, I would be delighted to have Tom Bombadil show up. Even though I can't figure out how exactly, I think it'd be great. It'd be great. I'd
Uh,
love that idea.
you know, I'm just
Well,
I'm just thinking this through with this. Like this came in during the show, Cliff. Tom Bombadil solves a lot of my gripes with the show. The show was not fun. Season 1 was not fun. Tom Bombadil brings in the fun, brings in the chaos, brings in a character, a Deadpool type character that could break the fourth wall, that can speak to every character about everything going on, that can tell you the story. He can tell you that the Mithril rumor is bullshit. That whole tree thing. Like Tom is the guy that could solve a lot of issues and be straight comedy. Straight comedy.
he sure could be. Do you know, at this point, I wish that Robin Williams were still alive because he would be the perfect choice to play Tom
What
Bombadil.
British comedian besides Lenny Henry? What British comedian could you see as Tom Bombadil?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I don't know where to begin with that. I don't put me in that position. Oh my gosh, I don't know who. I just think that I've always visualized Robin Williams as being Tom. Huh, there you go. Ellen in the chat, hello there, my dear friend Ellen, has suggested Eddie Izzard, which could be a lot of fun. That's a possibility. That's a
Eddie
great
Izzard
possibility, actually. Eddie Izzard,
as
yeah.
Tom Bombadil is a chaos agent that I would be okay with.
I love that you say that, like, and describe him like that. That's really funny.
Otaku
That's really
Senpai,
funny.
anyone related to Monty Python is too old. I agree. But
Mm,
Bombadil is ageless. Uh, maybe they could do some, you know, Star Wars stuff.
no, let me see. I'm thinking that's a really good suggestion that Ellen made, that, Eddie Izzard could do that. That's a really great suggestion.
Yeah, you know what's funny, Ellen? I
I
love
don't
that you
know.
mentioned it because I literally Googled Hannibal cast to figure out what that guy's name was. Like, I pictured Eddie Izzard. I did, and I was like, "Who is that guy that was in Hannibal? That's the comedian that is transitioning." Like, I couldn't remember his name, and Ellen just comes out with it. We're on the same page,
Eddie.
Ellen. Um,
Hmm. Let's see who else might be a really good Tom Bombadil.
or well, we can all think about
I don't
that
know.
until
Let me think about
next
that.
Torn Tuesday. But Cliff, your gut reaction is Tom Bombadil a good idea? Is this
Sure.
what the show needs? In my opinion, this is exactly what the show needs.
No, in my opinion, it makes no bloody sense at all, but I'm willing to go along for the ride.
He could push. Tom can just show up at random and push characters the
He
way they
has
need to go.
he has no purpose in the second age that I can even in my wildest imagination, I cannot think, and maybe this speaks very poorly to my active imagination right now, but I can't imagine what they would do with Tom Bombadil, but it is a tantalizing idea, and I love it. If they're going to bring in Bombadil, I'm there for that. Although I don't yet understand what he would do in the second age, but I love it.
He's exactly from the meta conversation. A lot of the issues I have with Rings of Power season 1 was it's freaking boring and there's nothing fun about it and nobody's having fun and there's no laughter and there's no joy and this show is getting dark. If you want to show an arc, start season 1 in a joyous place. That way, season 5, when it's all death and destruction, and Isildur fails his test, it's
Yep.
heartbreaking.
Yep.
Like, so no one's having fun yet. Not even the Harfoots are having fun because they're like constantly leaving people behind. Put them at the end. The cripple goes
Oh
at
my
the end. Let
gosh.
the wolves get him. You know.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Somebody else said, and I thank you, Scott, for suggesting this, Sasha Baron Cohen as Tom Bombadil.
Hey, Cecilia in the chat room.
Maybe.
Cliff, can you explain this comment? Cecilia in the chat room says, Justin, you do not understand Tom Bombadil's role in Middle Earth. He is not a buffoon.
No. And he's he's supposed to be very much outside the general realm of, and Professor Tolkien kind of intended for Tom to be that anachronistic in the presence of Middle Earth. And he's a standout character. I just don't know what they would do with him. But I'm fascinated by the possibility, and I'm very much willing to go along with that. I think that'd be cool.
In canon, he did exist in the First Age. He did exist in Middle Earth this early.
He existed from the very, very beginning of all time.
So it's not canon breaking.
No, not at all. It's not canon breaking unless they do something with Tom Bombadil that becomes canon breaking.
I'd love him.
I mean, if Tom Bombadil shows up in Mordor and starts talking to Sauron about you can't build that dark tower here, that would be breaking the canon. Okay.
Is Tom Bombadil allegiant to the forces of good or forces of evil, or does he not meddle in any of those matters? And is he a chaos agent? Is he a chaos agent? Does he play both sides for fun?
There's a lot of hypotheses, a lot of speculation, and the main hypothesis is that he's the spirit of nature itself. Like, instead of Mother Nature, he is Father Nature. There's a lot of speculation that he might even be Eru Iluvatar himself. You don't know. We don't know. A lot of speculation about that.
I like the idea of a fun little fourth wall breaking Deadpool type, talking to the camera, talking to the characters, telling characters things that they shouldn't even know about, pushing them in the right direction, pushing the good guys or the bad guys in the right direction as well as the good guys, and maybe throwing in some songs for for no reason, as we were just talking about. There's something about singing that is true to Tolkien that we just didn't get enough of.
I would love to hear something in the background as the stranger, and as Nori and the stranger are wandering around looking. Suddenly, you'd see a little hat with a yellow feather going over the lines of the bushes. Somebody's behind the hedge. Who's that? And suddenly they hear, "Hey, doll, merry doll, ring a dong dillo." I'm all about that. All about that.
Spartan BB in the chat room says he gave the hobbits the daggers that would fell the Witch King much later.
Mm-hmm. And those daggers actually came from the grave of mortal men from the Northern Kingdom, where the Barrow-wights had been.
This dude does meddle. He has fun with this. He would love nothing more than to see little hobbits defeat these Nazgul.
Yep. No, I think that if Tom Bombadil is used, he would show up in conversation with the stranger and Nori. I don't know if there's any other characters anywhere else currently in the Rings of Power who would need to sit down and have a one-on-one with Tom. I just can't see, the High King Gil-galad or Galadriel sitting down with Tom and the flowers and the lily pads talking about stuff. I can't see it. But if the stranger and Nori are wandering around, but they're going in the opposite direction. They're going to Hrun, to the east. And Tom has always said that he prefers to stay within the boundaries of his realm, which would be in the Old Forest, in Eriador, which is a hop, skip, and a jump from where Celebrimbor is, where Brimby has been making elven rings.
I was watching the Hobbit movies this week, and Gandalf seems fearful of Sauron returning. He just seems fearful of Sauron. But Galadriel in Rings of Power and in The Hobbit and in Lord of the Rings, Galadriel never appears fearful of Sauron.
Indeed. That's a good point.
So why is Gandalf... Why are the wizards scared, but she isn't? What does she know? And is Elrond ever scared of Sauron?
I wonder. Um, Sauron doesn't reveal himself until a certain point in the Second Age, but what we saw in season one of Rings of Power shows us that they're not really staying in alignment with that timeline. So it's a big open question mark at this point about people confronting Sauron openly. Um, you know, with the Tom Bombadil character, you could have him show up anywhere and talk to anyone, but I think it would be really interesting if he starts talking to Celebrimbor. That'd be interesting, because over there in the city of Ost en Ithil, in Eregion, where Celebrimbor currently is at the end of season one, he is physically closest to the location where Tom Bombadil is known to be.
Huh.
Yep. So maybe that increases the probability that, Celebrimbor is going to have some conversations with Tom. That'd be weird. I don't understand what it would be in the story, but let's find out and see if the rumors are true. Remember, everybody, this is Green Dragon Gossip right now.
This is Green Dragon Gossip. What is not Green Dragon Gossip? Let me see if I can bring it up on screen. Tea with Tolkien posted this today from one of the Middle Earth books. Artanis, Cliff, Artanis is the name given to Galadriel by her father. Artano, High Smith, aka High Smith, Artano, is the name given to himself by Sauron in the Second Age. What can we read into this? Artanis, the name given to Galadriel by her father. Artano, the name given to himself by Sauron in the Second Age. Is there a deeper connection that the showrunners are exploiting that we, just as red as we are, we haven't picked up on?
Maybe, but I don't understand. Where is this from? Is this from the Complete Guide to Middle Earth, the Robert Foster guide?
Let's see.
Where is that from?
Unfinished Tales Index. From the Unfinished Tales.
The Unfinished Tales Index. Wow. Wow.
And it says from the Unfinished Tales, when he came among the Noldor, he adopted a specious fair form, a kind of simulated anticipation of the later Istari, and a fair name, Artano, or High Smith, or Ayulendil, meaning one who is devoted to the service of the Vala Aule.
Well, Nile is correct that it's all about language. Arta means high, as in noble born or high born. Okay? Well, I don't know what you could read into this, but it sure does seem to be a pretty close and interesting thing. Maybe somebody in the writer's room was looking at that and thought, we should work with this. Maybe the Rings of Power writers were looking at the index of Unfinished Tales and thought that they could run with this.
Well, this goes back to what I just said about the Hobbit movies and the Lord of the Rings movies. Galadriel is not scared of Sauron. But Gandalf is, and the wizards are. Like, everybody else is scared of Sauron. And him reforming and him gaining power. And like everybody. But Galadriel has this attitude. It's so hard to describe, but if you watch The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings through the lens of, she's not scared of him at all. And then in Rings of Power, we see that she's really not scared, and we get that big Evanescence ending with them yelling at each other. She's not scared. She's never been scared.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's one way to describe it. Um, yeah, I agree. Do you know, um, she was stronger than anybody else, perhaps, perhaps except for Gandalf, in terms of power to stand against Sauron. And she was not forbidden by the Valar to not show direct power for power, the way that the Maiar, who became wizards, were all forbidden to match or challenge the enemy power against power. That's not the way they were supposed to do that. And so Galadriel is not beholden to that rule. And I think that has a lot to do with it too, that she's less fearful of him because she knows that she could show her true power against him. Very intriguing. Stephen says she was just that badass. Hello there, Sauron the Dark Lord. He says, you are speaking of me. This is really good stuff.
Well, there you go. That's
a pretty interesting thing that, hello, I want to say thank you, Tea with Tolkien, for finding that, because it's very interesting. I'm glad that she tweeted that. It's very interesting indeed.
All right, so we'll find out next fall in the autumn of 2024 whether this first rumor of 2023 proves out true.
I'm excited. I'm excited by the idea that Tom Bombadil might be our boy coming to season 2. I mean, I never asked for it, and it doesn't make any sense, but sure, I'm down. Like I said a few minutes ago, we realize after watching season 1 that we can chill our jets, and we realize that Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne are doing their own thing. So we can just roll with it and see how it turns out.
Just roll with it, man.
Yeah, it's not going to be what's in the appendices. It is certainly not matching up with the tale of years, the chronological calendar that's in Appendix A. So they're doing all kinds of weird and interesting things. So let's see if they're going to bring in bloody Tom Bombadil, then by all means, let's do it. We might as well throw in the kitchen sink too while we're at it. Okay. I'm not at all cynical at all.
Well, there you go. You've got some Green Dragon gossip. You've got your homework to do. Let's recap what you folks should be watching. Tolkien is on FX.
Yes.
FX Now, if you have cable service, you get FX Now for free. You can watch The Animated Hobbit on HBO Max by searching for Rankin, and it pops right up. And then
it also shows up if you type in HOBBIT.
For some
that
people.
That also works, yes.
And then Viggo Mortensen has 2 movies. 1 is absolutely must-see. That's 13 Lives. 2 is a hardcore rated R body horror movie with a new Howard Shore score, Crimes of the Future, which is an acquired taste, and I totally understand if you don't want to give that a shot. It's not necessarily your homework. It's just something fun to watch on the first week of the year. And Cliff, I hope you watch 13 Lives because I need to talk to you about it because it's amazing. It's just amazing.
I will be watching that right away. I promise you. I will.
Yeah.
And what a great show we've had to start the year. It's unfortunate that we could not meet face to face because I've got this Christmas present under the tree for you. And I was going to give it to you and let you open it up in person. Okay. But you also had a package at Scum and Villainy Cantina, and it's for me to open up, and we're not there tonight. So I guess we'll have to do that next week, right?
Yeah, maybe next week. And if folks at home, you want to send anything to Cliff or myself, you can send it to Scum and Villainy Cantina in Hollywood, California, and we get it. We got some amazing, wonderful gifts from you guys this year. We got some posters that I still need to put on the wall over here. And
I've got one right here. Yes, for you, but I got to give you. Yes.
So we thank you for watching, and we thank you for your support, and we love this community. And again, back to this amazing photo. Like, it's all about community. Whether the movies end up good or not, or we agree with everything, it's all about the community. And being at Oxford with Nerd of the Rings and Varking and Fellowship of Fans and the Prancing Pony. I mean, these are the moments. Cliff, it wasn't about the Hobbit movies not winning an Oscar. It was about the Hobbit parties that we threw on Oscar night.
Indeed. It was all about getting the fans together to celebrate as only the fans can do.
We knew the Hobbit probably wasn't going to win any awards. It was nice to be nominated. But everybody getting an opportunity to dress up and then hang out with the Weta Workshop folk was just great. So
it was wonderful. Super good stuff. Do we have any updates for the War of the Rohirrim? Any news today?
Oh, I'll have more on that next week.
Okay, we'll have more on that next week. We will have more next week. So, hello, everybody. And it's now time for us to sign off and finish our wonderful show. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining us in the brand new year, 2023. It's so good to have you guys with us here on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, your mama and your daddy and your no panty granny. We're all here together on all these platforms, and it's really exciting for this new year. Justin, you are looking very sharp and very healthy. I'm happy to see you and that you made it through another year. Happy to see you.
I'm glad to be here.
I can't wait to give you your present live on the air next week, hopefully, if we broadcast from Scum and Villainy Cantina. Until then, we should say, you guys take good care of yourselves, be gentle with one another, and on this very special January 3rd, Justin, we go around and around the calendar, and it's not that often that Tolkien's birthday actually falls on a Tuesday. It's not that often for us, is it?
No, not at all. So, to the professor.
Pretty cool. To the professor. Happy birthday, John Ronald, and thank you for Middle Earth. Thank you for Arda and everything in between. Cheers.
Text me. I'll decide in a couple days, so everybody that watches later on YouTube, text me your favorite scene from Tolkien the movie, and I'll choose a couple winners for these pins. TCBS. This is Tolkien's childhood group, a precursor to the Inklings. TCBS, right here. The only pin available. Going right to you. Thank you so much for watching. Hello, Mithrin, dear.
Hello, Myth. Myth says hi. Do you guys want to know what his kill rate is today?
Oh, boy.
He went outside, and everything's rained and wet, and he caught a hamster and killed it, and I took it away from him. Less than half an hour later, he caught a mouse. And he is the most amazing, this guy's a ruthless killer. He's a ruthless killer.
He's
anyway,
a Mithrin, dear. I told you to take his staff away.
I told you to take the wizard's staff. Anyway, you're funny.
That's what's missing from Rings of Power. A performance like Brad Dourif Wormtongue that was so over the top, but so well edited.
And
he put every dribble of juice that he could into that greasy, slimy Wormtongue, and it was awesome. So good.
It's brilliant.
It's so
Guess
good.
What? We're gonna see some exciting new things coming up in the world of J.R.R. Tolkien. There's a lot more to come, and 2023 is going to be a busy year of all of us speculating on all the interesting and crazy things they're doing on the set of the Rings of Power. And we've got other news and other mischief to come. Justin, thank you for being here and helping to produce the show and helping to bring some of these exciting headlines to all of us. And thank you, Myth, my cat Myth, for making sure that my house has no rodents or rats or mice anywhere near a 100-yard vicinity of my house. I'm grateful for that too. So I guess it's time to say good night and good luck. Or, in other words, buenos noches y buena suerte. We'll see you guys next time. Oh, did I pronounce that incorrectly? Buenos noches y buena suerte. I think I got it right. Buenas with a different vowel sound. I have to make sure my pronunciation is correct. Everybody, be good to yourselves. We'll see you next Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific, right here for Torn Tuesday. Until next time, bye, everybody.